You already know what it is. Only game. OG Grip. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about the police. That's right. Your favorite people in mine, the police. Stay tuned. Let's get into it.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. I could teach you how to stack a honey early in the morning. Them niggas talk shit, ain't got nothing.
Appreciate y'all being here today on this lovely Wake Up Wednesday. It's Only Game. I'm OG Grip. For those of y'all that don't know, what I need you to do before we get into anything about these wretched ass police is click the like, the subscribe, and that little bing so you can stay up with everything that we posting and everything that we talking about. It's gonna be an interesting one today. The police, man. I want to talk about, first of all, power. I want to touch on that a little bit. I think they got too much power. I don't think no man or woman on this planet should have that much power. I think that they let that badge get to their head and they use that that false sense of security, being that gun, in order to go above and beyond in everyday activities. You know what I mean? I got some stats we're gonna get into as this show goes on today. Some things that might blow y'all away. Some of y'all might already know this. Some of y'all might be the police. Some of y'all think y'all good cops, and you just might be. I remember Officer Friendly when I was little, but that was when I was little. I ain't ran across too many Officer Friendly since then. So let's touch on power first of all. The power, not 50 Cent's power, but the power that they possess. The fact that you can pull me over and just make up anything for probable cause. 9 times out of 10, in my experiences, they have never really had real probable cause, but they just make up something. That's why they can't answer you when you ask them right away. I find that to be extremely annoying. The fact that you can just do anything you want to do to me, and then I have to try to fight you guys in a court of a law where you guys are basically protected. You guys meaning the police. I don't think that that's fair. If you can just kick my door in and throw shit off of my wall, stomp on things, run around my house and just to keep telling me to cover my head. As you can tell, I've been through some of these instances before, right? Keep telling me to cover my head. I can't look at you. You guys come in like the mob. I can't deal with that. I'm one of those people that when you start talking to me a certain way, I give you back the same energy that you're giving me, which probably isn't the best thing to do. You know, some of y'all might have seen that Styles P video, right? Where he's stopping the officers from beating up on the girl or on the lady. I'm that type. So I have to watch how I move in situations in regards to the police because I think they have entirely too much power. That badge is supposed to be here to protect the server. It's supposed to represent a group of people that protect and serve us. But in my case, with this skin color, it doesn't always go that way. You know, we always tend to get the short end of the stick. I've actually called the police before for a situation that I needed assistance in, not on anyone, just for a situation I needed assistance in when I was a minor. And I got treated like I didn't call them. Like I wasn't the homeless kid, you know, like I wasn't the one that needed help. From that moment on, I made a vow that I wouldn't be calling them about anything else, you know, and I kind of have stuck to that. So any other encounter I've had with the police has usually been because, you know, somebody else called them, something else was going on. Yeah, so the power they have, I just don't agree with. Let's start there. Another thing that I wanted to touch on during this show is their training or lack thereof, right? I've been doing a little bit of homework and researching things, and I find that the police in the U.S. are required to have tops 500 hours or something like that of training in order to become cops, whereas police in other places like England and some other places where they're required to have an academics degree in order to even be a police officer. One of the other things that I find, as far as with their training, that I find disheartening is, the cops in the U.S. get more training on firearms, like using their guns and shooting and firing their guns, and just different aggressive ways of, interacting with the public. They get trained on that way more than they get trained on how to de-escalate a situation. So they're not even being taught how to walk in, and not with blacks anyway. We'll get into that a little bit after I make this statement. They're not even being taught to walk into a situation and come in, with their guards, not necessarily down, because I understand they're police and, there are dangers that they're facing, obviously. But a lot of these things that happen in regards to police, they're the ones that are escalating the situations. So they're not being taught to come in there and say, oh, I see this, let me read the room real quick, and as opposed to pulling out my gun or instantly starting to yell at an individual and show my power or my manhood or my womanhood or the frustrations that I've had at home before I left, or whatever the case may be. They don't come in and say, hey, you guys, let's sit down and talk. They don't try to mediate anything at all, and I don't know the proper way to do that. But I know that there are better ways than to walk into a situation where it might be heated tempers or escalated tempers and whatnot, and then you walk in with a gun and a badge trying to make everyone feel like a 4-year-old, and you're scolding everyone and yelling and screaming right in people's faces and demanding that they sit down. I think that is not a proper show of your training, or maybe it is, being that they're not training you guys to really take the fire out of a situation, pour it, to douse it with some love or some care or whatever it is that you guys can bring other than aggression. 1,000 people at least a year get murdered by the police. 1,000 in the U.S. now. 1,000. I want y'all to think about that number. 1,000 people murdered by the police. By the police, the people that are put here to protect and serve. I read a statistic, a stat that said in 2020, 49 police officers were killed on duty. 49. The police have killed 20 times that amount. 20 times that amount. That is ridiculous. How am I supposed to raise my child to like I said, I grew up with Officer Friendly, right? We used to actually run up on the police cars and ask them for cards and different baseball cards and things like that. They would come to the school all the time. They would be in the neighborhood. They would do certain things and have certain functions so that way we could get to know them and feel comfortable with them. I haven't seen an Officer Friendly since then. I don't even know who represents them anymore. Right now they come into the neighborhood that they don't work in, and they're just brutalizing everybody and talking crazy to everybody and trying to show that they're the man. I think that we really need to grab a hold of that situation and start training our officers better. I think there should be way more required to be a police officer than a high school diploma. There's the same way that we're discussing all these things about gun laws. I feel like those things should all be being discussed as well, because especially with the police, adding them into the conversation, because they're the ones that are allowed to carry guns right away, and without a psych evaluation or any of that type of stuff. You just go apply. I could go apply right now, get a couple weeks of training, and be out here policing neighborhoods, and I could be poor at it. I could be one of the worst officers ever. And no one would ever say anything because it just is what it is. So I think that we definitely need to work on our system as far as with the policing and how we're training our officers, because we're losing a lot of lives for nothing. So, I'm not going to sit here and say all cops are bad, right? Even though I've had more bad experiences with the police than I've had great experiences. I told you guys about one of them already. When I was like 14, and I ended up going to a place for runaways because I was a runaway. That wasn't the best situation. But even as an adult, I've come across certain situations with police officers that haven't always left the best left me in the best state of mind or, left me feeling comfortable. I go to this bar, Blondie's. My little brother and a friend of mine, they were all just out of town in California. They've been living in Cali for a while, doing music and whatnot and pursuing their dreams. They get in town. I had just bought this new Cadillac. I'm like, yo, let's go. I'm gonna buy you guys a drink. My brother didn't want to go. So I took his homeboy a couple blocks down the street to go to this bar that we used to have in Brooklyn Park. This bar called Blondie's. Now think about that. The bar's name is Blondie's. That's a whole nother story that I'll speak on another day. So we go to Blondie's. We walk in literally. Listen to this story. We walk into Blondie's. In there, people know me. So, it's always good times, good laughs. A lot of the people I know and went to school with are, frequent that bar, that establishment when it was there. So we go into Blondie's. I ordered 2 shots of Patron. 2 shots of Patron means we're gonna get 4, because Blondie's had 2-for-1s all day. This is part of the reason everybody used to go, right? Imagine that. Buy one, you get another one. Every shot, every drink, 2-for-1. Purchase the 2 shots of Patron, 4 come. Literally, I take a shot, my homeboy takes a shot. He takes half of his next shot, and I'm like, take mine. After I down my shot, he's like, oh man, I can't drink the rest of this. Mind you, this is all within like a 4 or 5 minute period, time frame, right? He's like, oh, I don't really want to drink the rest of this. I can't drink the rest of this right now. But at the same time, my phone is ringing. I got to go. I had other places I needed to be. So I'm like, it's all good. I just wanted to buy y'all a drink anyway when you came in town. Boom, I kill his shot. We walk out of Blondie's. 5 minutes, maybe 7 tops. Walk out of Blondie's, hop in the car. As I'm exiting the driveway of Blondie's to hop onto the boulevard, there's some police right across the street. They're literally staking out this bar, and I think this is against the law, I'm not sure. But they're out there. I hit the boulevard, I make a left, I'm headed home. Stay about 3-4 minutes down the street. Get to the house or get to my street, I bust a left off the boulevard onto my street. When I hit that left, the cherries come on. The officer comes up to me. He's asking me if I just left the bar. I'm telling him, you're the same cop that was across the street. Probably not the way I should have approached the situation, right? But that's what I'm telling him. You're the cop that just was across the street, so I know you know I just left the bar. I explained to him the situation. My friend just came in town. We went in, had 2 drinks. If you were there the whole time, you saw that we were in there for about 7 minutes. He doesn't want to hear any of that. He tells me I need to blow into this machine. I tell him I literally just took a shot. I'm not trying to blow in the machine. I'm a skinny guy. I know that the liquor is still in my mouth. I can taste it, right? So I don't want to blow into the machine. I'm not going to argue with the cop, so I do it. When I blow, this is at the time, I don't know if you guys remember, the drinking limit, allowed limit was 1.2 or something like that. Or, 0.12, something like that. And they had dropped it to 0.08. So this particular day, I blow 0.09. Of course, now he's giving me the sobriety test and all these different things. Long story short, he ends up telling my friend he can't drive my car 2 houses down the street to park in my driveway. He tows my vehicle. He takes me to jail. I get a D-dub. Just like that. I'm talking about one of the worst situations of my life, because that ended up being a problem that I had to deal with for years, right? Just the fact that I had a D-dub. Now my license gets suspended. I'm going through all this stuff, and I'm 2 houses away from my home. That cop was a jerk. I've come across so many different officers that are like that, and don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning drinking and driving. I'm not saying that, they didn't have a right to feel any kind of way, but just how the situation played out, I think it could have been handled differently. Maybe on both parts, but I really believe it could have been handled differently, and it wasn't. And not only did he do all the things that he did to help me get this case, but his attitude while doing it was that of, arrogance. He was very arrogant with it. He was very rude, and it was one of those experiences that I'll never forget, but I hope I never have to deal with again. And I take responsibility for my part in that situation, but again, it could have been handled so much differently. So, fuck the police. Now, I'm gonna be the first person to tell you that I know for a fact that all police aren't like the worst. I've had some cool encounters with police as well. Before we get into my next encounter, I want you to click the like, subscribe, and that bing, so you can stay tuned and stay up to date with everything that we're doing here on Only Game with OG Grip, right? So do that right now. Don't waste any time. Do that right now. If you need to make an account in order to subscribe, I need you to do that right now. I'll wait. All right, I won't wait that long, but you can do it when this is over. All cops aren't bad cops, right? I've had some great encounters, a couple great encounters with police officers. So instead of just bashing them all the way through this video, I want to talk about at least one good experience that I had with a cop, and it was good for me. I'll tell you why. But so this night, I smoke, right? So weed. Let me be clear. Weed, nothing else. So this particular night, we rolled up some weed. We're in the parking lot of this apartment, right? Century Courts, that's what we used to call it. We're in the parking lot of this apartment. We rolled up some weed, and the police pulled in, and we hop out the car, and I got this blunt in the ashtray. So we hop out the car, close the doors, try to play like we're about to walk into the building. The cop comes up, he's not having it. He's like, "Oh, okay. Come back to the car that y'all were just in. Do you have your license?" Da, 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 da. We go through that whole situation. At the time, I didn't have my license. So he runs my name, sees I don't have a license, but we also weren't driving the vehicle at the time, even though I was in possession of the keys and the car was in my name. So he's like, "All right, what's this in the car?" Because he's shining the light all in the car. I'm like, "What? That's a cigar." So he makes me open the door. Time I'm young, so I don't even know if I had to do that, but he makes me open the door, which I do. I grab the cigar, the blunt that is freshly rolled. I grab it. I rolled it as well. I give it to him. He takes the weed, shakes it like this on top of the car, smells it, looks at it. It's a little dark outside, but he looks at it, shakes it the other way on top of the car. Nothing comes out. He smells it again, he looks at it. And then he hands it to me. I'm looking at the weed, and I'm looking at him like, okay, so this is the setup part. You want me to grab this so you can tell me that it was mine, and there's no way for me to get away from this little weed case. This is what I'm thinking in my mind as a young man. So he's like, "You gonna take it or not?" So I slowly reach out. I grab the weed from him. I'm looking at him. I guess at this moment, he probably should have known that it was weed, and maybe he did. We never got into that conversation though. He just handed it back to me. I sat there. I looked at him for a while. He told me that we shouldn't be hanging around in the parking lot at this time. Asked our ages and everything else. And then let us go with the weed. That was an amazing experience for me because I ended up seeing this officer later on. And even after seeing him later on, he always would give me, a couple times, he would always give me this look like, "Yeah, I let you slide that night," which was cool. So, all cops ain't bad cops, and all my stories or that I was talking about the weed or, like I said, I will own up to my part that I played. But again, even how he handled that situation, even if he would have taken the weed, even if he would have broken it, just his attitude, the way he communicated with us, the way he treated us like young men. He didn't treat us like he was some giant and we were just peons or peasants. He treated us like men, like human beings. Just for that alone, it was a great experience. Forget the fact that we got to keep the weed. We got to keep the weed, even though that was great. Hopefully there's some officers watching this, and hopefully you guys can pick up some points from that. It's really up to y'all in a lot of cases on how the situation goes, because you walk in with all the power, all the authority, but if you walk in acting like that and portraying that image, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get received with friction. So, lighten up a little bit. Is rehabilitation possible? Are these jails helping people get rehabilitated, or are they just going to jail and learning how to become better criminals? That's what I want to discuss a little bit. And then I want to say what I would do if I was the U.S. or, stick with me, ride with me a little bit. I want to talk about rehabilitation. Is it possible? I believe so. I believe that if you want to change, you can change, no matter what you did or what you're known for doing or, what you were raised doing. I think that if you want to change, that you can. Is the jail system in the U.S. the type of system that promotes that? I don't think so. I don't think I've been in jail, right? It's not a place that I would wish on my worst enemy or I want anyone to go to experience, right? It's not comfortable at all. It's not a place that I would put on my list of places to visit. It's not something to be excited about. But with that being said, jail in the U.S. Compared to jail in a place like Liberia, they're two totally different things. I think that if our system, and again, forgive me y'all, because some of y'all gonna be mad that I'm saying this, right? I can't believe Grip is saying this type of shit. I am. I think if our system was, I think if our prison system or our jail system was a little bit more like it is in a place like Liberia, less people would go to jail. Less crimes would be committed. It's kind of like when you go, like being in a place like Texas, everybody has a gun. Do you just want to run up on somebody and rob them? Chances are they got a gun. You know what I'm saying? It makes you think twice in most cases. I would think that you would think twice before doing certain things because you know that that person you're running up on 9 times out of 10 can protect themselves, right? That's kind of what I'm saying in regards to jail. In Liberia, jail is not a place that you would want to go. There is no toilet. Even though, up here, the toilet is connected with the sink, and that's disgusting in itself. But imagine if your toilet was a bucket. That's what it was. And it was just in this room. And everybody that wanted to go to the bathroom had to go to the bathroom and defecate or piss in this bucket. And it's just there. And your walls are filled with slime. You know what I'm saying? And you're smelling this stench. Just imagine if it was really like that. They got Brittany Griner right now over there in the Russian jail. Lord knows what she's going through. I'm praying for her. But think about that. Here, you get 3 hots in a cot, right? You get 3 meals. You can get TV. You're living. You're taken away from your family, and you can't run the streets technically, but you don't have no women. But you're free in a sense. Not free, but you're still living a life that obviously people can survive from. They go to prison for years, come home, and they continue to live life. Again, I'm not promoting that at all, and I know that not everybody's prison term is as light as that, so I'm not trying to minimize what anyone might have gone through or is going through by any means, but I'm just saying, here, it's like a hotel compared to a place like Liberia. If our prison system was more like Liberia, I truly, honestly believe that we would not see as many criminals as we do. I know that's very unpopular to most people that's listening to. I know y'all feel like, damn, Grip, you trying to fuck us up, Mo? No, I'm not. I'm hoping that we all get to understand that we're living in a society right now that is getting more and more out of control every day. Our kids have to grow up in this, I'm worried for mine. I'm not scared. I'm preparing them. But I'm worried for mine because it's like people aren't even raising their kids with respect anymore. Everybody's just doing whatever they want to do, you know what I'm saying? And I think that that's dangerous. All these different agendas and propagandas that are getting pushed onto the youth, whether it's TV, music, or whatever, it's crazy. So I'm worried about our youth, and I'm hoping that with all these videos and all this game, I'm hoping that some of these youth will watch this and hear what I'm saying and not even want to experience the hotel part of jail, like, you know, as far as within the U.S. I'm hoping that it deters them. I'm hoping that they understand that, you know, here it's a way. And just because I'm saying it's a hotel and it's comfortable, it doesn't mean that that's where you want to be, in a 5x7 box where you can't see your family. Hoping that we all get our acts together. And I'm hoping that our system finds alternative ways to make, to hopefully make people learn their lesson or help them learn their lesson. I know that's unpopular again, but who gives a fuck? It's my thoughts, how I feel. Take that with you. So I want to say I appreciate you guys for tuning in on this Wake Up Wednesday. It's been a pleasure. I'm OG Grip. This is Only Game. Make sure you follow me for Only Game all the time on all the social media platforms. Check out my Take That With You's The Real OG Grip on pretty much everything at The Real OG Grip. Follow me. Check me out obviously here on YouTube Monday through Friday. Tuesdays it's Only Game live on IG. Make sure you tune into that. We always have great topics. I appreciate y'all for coming. You know what I'm saying? If you're the police, I hope this brought you some understanding, and I hope you take some light back to your squadron and to your gang. And y'all be a little light on us out here, man. We just trying to make it. This shit ain't perfect, and neither are we. Much love to y'all, man. From everybody here at Only Game. Y'all have a blessed night.
I can teach you how to stack a honey.